A good afternoon, Tom Ginn and
Mark Gassert.
Elevate Your Profits.
It's here. It's Monday.
It is Monday, and we'll be right back. And we are back.
Absolutely.
Man, how did your day go? I know I talked to you early this morning. So did
I'm a telephone. Believe it or not, I'm identifying as a telephone.
Okay. All right. That's
Just
a private
kidding.
joke between me and
Just,
Mark.
just kidding. Just kidding. No,
But
it went
Mark, why don't
great.
you share a little bit about what our platform's about, and then
Sure.
I'll take the
Sure.
opportunity to interview two beautiful women, and
Absolutely.
they got a special story to share. So why don't you share with everybody out there that what we're about?
Right. First off, I'd like to say that this is really neat that we're having two, not just one, but two women on here. I think it's great. Um, and we need to get more female guests, by the way, but we'll get there. Anyway, this platform really is not what you think. It's not dollar bills left and right. Elevate your profits. It's, what people are currently doing to one, either better themselves, help other people, how they're serving others. It could even be they're entrepreneurs. Maybe they work for a company, but they're very passionate about what it is they do. And essentially, what we try and do on this particular platform is get those people on here and expound on what it is they're doing out there in the real world. Because we all know in the past 2 years, things have been up and they've been down. And right now, we've got some other things that we're dealing with, which I won't get into. I'll stay out of that political arena. That's all I'm going to say. But I'll let Tom expound more about elevate your profits as well.
Well, thanks, Mark. Yeah, we came together. There's a lot of people out there that maybe are aspiring to go into business, or they are in business, but they're struggling, or they're want to stay on top of a cutting edge, what's happening and trending in that. So we bring in uh, business influencers from all different walks, and so it's about just sharing good news, sharing stories on what it takes to win. And it's everything from the mindset to the bank account. It's not just one thing that we talk about. It's not always about the money. But what it really takes to succeed in your avocation, in your business, what you're doing. So what we talk about is in business principles also applies to people that are working for somebody else as well. So without any further ado, I'm really excited to bring in these two ladies. One I know very well. She's my wife, Kathleen. And we're bringing in her friend and colleague, Suzanne Eccher. And without any further ado, let's bring them in. We'll bring in Suzanne first. Hi, Suzanne.
Ba-boom. There
Hi.
she is.
And there's
Hello.
Greetings.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Look at that. You got two guys in the top, great looking ladies on the
Shut up,
bottom.
put us
Both
on
of us got faces for radio, but you guys are making the show already. So I'm real comfortable now.
Yeah, Mark, Robert, thanks for jumping in here. But before we get going in, what we want to talk about tonight, we'll sort of set the stage here in a second. But I always like to start out with this. What are you grateful for today? As individuals, as business leaders, what are you grateful for today? We'll start with Suzanne.
I am grateful for colleagues of all of all walks of life, such as family, friends, and other entrepreneurs who are inspired and have a positive attitude. It helps being with like-minded people who love life and want to continue living life. So that's what I'm grateful for.
Well, thank you for sharing. And Kath, what are you grateful for today?
Yeah, Tom, when you first asked that, the first thing came to me was a beautiful fall day in Wisconsin. But I will answer also in a business sense. The second thing that came to me really was I'm grateful for Suzanne. I'm deeply grateful we have met. And I'm so excited to continue creating, and seeing how we can really serve this industry that I am deeply grateful for. I don't know if a day goes by, probably a day goes by, but I'm grateful a lot for being able to be a successful business person in this profession. Because that's not where I started out as. And to be able to use my gifts to serve others, that is the ultimate for me.
Well, thanks, Kath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And Mark, what are you grateful for today?
Man, I am just grateful that I'm here. And then when I say that, I say this tongue in cheek because some of my friends aren't with us anymore. And it kind of, I've here of late, I've kind of stepped back, and instead of saying things like, gee, I have to, gee, I get to do this today, or like yesterday, gee, I get to do 4 baseball games, and I do 2 of them behind the plate. And gee, I get to hear people make comments, but I'm thankful for it. And, when we finished up last night, it was kind of funny because, I teased the kids. These were younger guys. These were 12-year-olds. But I said, you got to be relaxed to enjoy this game and the whole process about it. I said, I kiddingly tease them. I say, I would really love to be in your shoes right now and be 12 just for this moment, because you have no idea, what's going on here. And, your parents make sure you're here. And there's a lot of things. That's why I tell parents, they'll come up and ask us about their sons, how they're doing. We had 2 young ladies play yesterday, and they were probably the better players. I kid you not. One got hit in the back with a baseball. It was probably about 60, 65. And because they're 12, didn't cry. I was impressed. And no, really a gritty young lady, but you could tell they loved the game. And I said, that's the big thing, is to have fun and develop, enjoy the process. And, moms and dads get on if they strike out or whatever. I said, don't do that to them, because we're all learning. And that's something I think I'm grateful for is, you think you fail at something, and I don't look at it that way. It's just a learning process. Maybe you don't do well at that at bat, or maybe you don't do that great on a sales call. Maybe you don't do well on, like you want to, engaging with someone face to face. You would like to do better, but you just got to learn from it and move on, and not to keep looking over your shoulder here. And I think for what's happened in the world today, and particularly what you do, you ladies, my hat's off. Kathy, you mentioned about touch and feel. I'm sure a lot of people, and Suzanne, you can chime in. They quit your profession because of COVID, or maybe they weren't doing so well, and that was a reason for them to get out. Um, and I'm sure you will later on delve into that arena, and you can tell us what has happened. But I think sometimes people don't look at the brighter side of things. That instead of having to do it, hey, I get to clean up my room today. I get to make my bed today. I think it's a matter of perspective and how you look at things. And I'm really pushing myself to look at it that way.
Thanks, Mark. And I always like to say this. I do this in my program, G-Force, is that I'm grateful for this very moment, because this is the most important moment we have in our lives. Whatever happened an hour ago is over. We have no control. We have no real control what might happen in the future, but how we deal with this moment dictates what comes forward. And I'm grateful for all 4 of you here today, because number one, it's going to, I know I'm going to get inspired by these two beautiful women for what they're doing and their mission. And so I'm grateful for that. And we never know how we're going to touch somebody out there in a positive way. So with that all said, I'm grateful for this very moment. It's the most important moment of our lives, this moment. And so I'm grateful for that. So what I'm going to like to do, just a little bit is you two ladies, I'll let you tell your stories here in a moment. We'll start with Suzanne. But I always like to talk in the terms of your why. Why you and Kathy have got together. Let's sort of put this together of how you all come together, what your mission is, saw a problem, have the same passion to correct that problem in your industry, and how you've all come together. So I'm just going to start with Suzanne. Welcome, Suzanne. I can't wait to hear the story.
Well, thank you. It's a long story, but I'll tell you that I was very fortunate to have met Kathleen because she is a veteran in the industry. She's been in the massage industry longer than I have. And I had talked to many people that have been in the industry. I've been in for 27 years. And so we are veterans and what we call elders in the profession. And we wouldn't be in it this long if we weren't passionate about it. I mean,
what profession is this?
Massage therapy.
Massage therapy.
Okay. Yes. And so my passion started many, many years ago when I heard a girl at a convention who said that she'd have to go work for a franchise because it moved into town and she couldn't compete with it. And that broke my heart. It was really a moment in time where I was like, that's impossible. You can't think like that. And she says, I don't know what else to do. And that's planted the seed for me over 15 years ago, I want to say. And I left that in my heart and I kept it in the back of my mind for all those years. And I struggled in the industry as well, as far as business goes. So I had to learn without any specific mentorship. And as the years went by, I just learned how to take chances and go seek opportunities. And one of the opportunities brought me into a coaching program where I met Kathy's cousin. And he introduced us. And when Kathy and I first connected, I told her what I was up to in a major way of just providing what is needed in the massage industry to help people have what they need to grow business. And we call it growing a practice. And we practice the art of massage and we grow with that. But when you have a business, you also grow. So the more I talked to Kathy, that was exactly where she was at in her education and things that she was doing. And here we are. So it's a beautiful connection for me. I feel very grateful for that.
Mark, do you have any questions or comments?
Well, yeah, I was just going to ask, did you meet face to face or did you meet this way, virtually?
We met virtually.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And we started talking almost a year ago, I want to say. I think.
So,
I don't remember. But it's almost a year and we just kept connecting. And then there was an opportunity for me to meet her in Texas at a conference, and I couldn't go as it turned out. I had an emergency, but then there was another opportunity in August, so we actually got to bond in person in August. So that was really fun.
Oh, wow. That's cool. Yeah. See, so virtually people are meeting. other people out there, and then eventually they do meet face to face, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of this technology. We can collaborate and work and build
Right.
and collaborate together and build something. But I'm going to go back what you said, Suzanne, because I think what you shared is not just in your massage industry, is that any business, if you don't have the right mindset, that woman you talked about, a franchised massage company came in and she didn't believe she had a chance to compete against them.
Right.
And that's a trend. It happens across all industries, is that you got to put more value in what you bring to the market than your competition. And so I think that's some of the things you gals will be talking about. Is that's sad that they didn't have enough broad thinking to how to deal with competition in a healthy way versus packing up the bags and leaving. So that I think that's that planted the seed. That planted the seed. So,
Yeah.
what is the biggest? I'll ask this to Suzanne first. What do you see the biggest challenge that people working in your industry have? One or two challenges that they have. Two biggest challenges.
The two biggest is probably confidence in how they've set themselves up. And the other is that they don't give themselves permission to thrive. It's something that they have to grow into, but it's also within their power. And if they have the ability to give themselves permission to try, and if it doesn't work, it's okay. Then you go to the next thing. And then, you're just looking for the right place to settle. And I think those two things kind of go hand in hand a little bit. And they don't have the confidence they can make enough money, pretty much.
I think that's a really interesting point. Kathy and I have talked about this, and Mark can chime in here. Is confidence that really comes to that's personal development of who you are, who you show up with. It no matter what you do in life, that you have the confidence to exercise your talent and empower yourself. So I think that's part of the thing that a lot of massage therapists don't. They're not doing personal work on personal growth.
Sometimes, yeah, I think they get caught up in the mechanics of the work rather than saying, these are the things I like to do and I can do them because I have 100 clients that want it, instead of following a box, a cookie cutter system that they learn in school and that other franchise places, to be honest, are doing. It's not cookie cutter in our industry. We have the ability to help people in lots of different ways. And there is not one of us that delivers it the same way. So there's lots of opportunity for people to be successful.
And you've seen a lot of people falling out of this industry. We won't get into all those details right yet, but you mentioned something too. And I think it goes across not only in your industry, but being around 30 some years in this industry, hearing Kathy teaching and all those things, is the industry has the people participating in the industry don't have a real good sense of what business is. They don't really understand what that is. It has, to them, it's a negative connotation. And they don't have a good relationship with money. And that's also goes across all spectrums of business, because if you don't have a good sense of your value in making money, it's going to limit you. I've seen it in the insurance industry, people that didn't have a good relationship with making a lot of money. They didn't see themselves. They didn't think their self-image was strong enough, or I'm not worthy of. So I think that's a great thing that you brought up, because I think knowing what you and Kathy have been talking about, that's empowering people to believe they're worthy of something bigger than themselves economically than they thought.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mark, do we got anything there?
Well, yeah, absolutely. You touched on something, and I'm sorry. I watched a little TV last night, right? Because the Braves were playing here in Atlanta after the game. See, and a lot of people will brush it off. They just worry about how the game progressed, and yeah, they beat the Mets, so that means Atlanta is now in the playoffs in some shape or form, and hopefully they'll win their division. But Dansby uh, got on there, and he was talking about mastering the mindset in the clubhouse. Dansby Swanson. And I thought that was really cool when he brought that up. And these are the players we like to be around in the clubhouse, what you're talking about and what they envision as a group. And you can't buy that. You can't put a price tag on that. And all these guys came up with the same type of philosophy. They're young, so they've got really a strong mindset as a unit. And that's why, because they were saying midway through the season you would have written them off, but they just kept working at it. And I think that's what, when you're talking, when Suzanne was talking about like money, or they can't visualize, I'm competing against a franchise, or I'm competing against this humongous training company over here. I think that's when you got to step back and say, hey, this is the value I can bring here, and they can't do this. Yeah, they might be a monster, but this is what we can do. And I think, and we all struggle with it, but you got to look inside yourself and really do some soul searching and say, hey, you know, you can do this. And it's about staying plugged in and being around the right group of people. And because there's too many naysayers out there. Hey, we survived out of COVID, right? I mean, I won't get into that, but I remember I stayed at a certain establishment and got screamed at because I didn't have my mask on to check out. Um, yeah, it was just kind of a wild thing to watch everybody's reaction. I was like, wow, is it that bad out here? But I think when Dansby said that about the mindset, and that's why we won, and he was talking about the way we approach it. It wasn't just the mechanics, the cookie cutter mechanics of hitting the ball off a tee. There's more to it, and you have to be athletic, obviously, but that mind up there can control a lot of things, good, bad, or indifferent,
Yeah.
and don't write it off. But that's my take.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And these are, I just want to mention this because these are two accomplished women that have been in this industry 30 some years, 25 years. When you look at that industry, there's not a lot of them that stay in that industry for a number of reasons.
Right.
Predominantly is they don't see themselves doing some, diverse, different tactics in their business. But Suzanne is also an author.
Look at that.
Seriously and Fearlessly: How to Thrive in the Massage Therapy Business. So she's written a book on that. And this is part of what you're bringing to you and Kathy. You're collaborating how to bring these principles to help those people in the industry. A quick synopsis of what this book's about, and encourage people to seek this book out if they're in the industry. Or does it apply across the board for any industry?
It can apply across the board because it's about looking at leveraging your time better and exploring other ways to make income. And you don't have to exchange hours for income anymore. We have lots of opportunities in which we don't have to do that. And we are taught in our massage profession to master this work that we do with people individually. So we become hours, we exchange hours for income for quite some time. And in my case personally, that's all I did. And I was just thinking linearly, and I wasn't expanding my thought into other things that I could bring value to those clients, so I can make more money per client than I had created. So it's that's also the permission piece to let yourself think outside the box a little bit.
Mark, does that sound familiar in our conversations with people that are just linear in business, have limited opportunities, and they're subject to failure based on competition, or they may get sick or can't do the work anymore. Technology changes. Does that sound familiar? That just if you're just linear, that there's more ways to how do you build your business with
Right.
expanded opportunities, and that could be. I'll let these gals talk a little bit about that, but we've talked a lot about that, right?
Yes, sir. We sure did.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's
And
key to
this
any
is
success in any business,
right.
not just your industry, is that you have what I call parallel paths of serving clients and earn money from them. As long as they're running parallel, it makes a lot of sense. You wrote another book, okay?
Yeah.
You
And
wrote
we're
2
here-
books? Wow.
Well, we got a, and she, it looks like it's co-authored. What's this? The 90-Day Success Express Massage Therapist, a proven system for building client base in just 90 days. Huh. If I'm a
Boy, I
massage
wish-
therapist starting out, I'd want to know, where do I begin and how can I get that traction going? So
Neat.
Well, it's
share a little
something I
bit
wish.
about this.
Yeah, I wish I had it when I started out, that's for sure. Because it just took me way too many years to figure out how to build a system within my business in which I'm showing that I'm growing. If I didn't have a client, I didn't think I was a new client, I didn't think I was growing, but I had plenty of clients in which I had a solid base. And what it teaches more is about how to build partnerships with people who help refer you to others. And then it's the startup is about looking at the money you want to make, the money you need to make, want to make, and plan for that, as well as having accountability to your systems of getting referrals so that it fills your practice and your business.
Again, the principles you just talked about are universal for anybody out there, not just massage therapists.
Right.
And
Mm.
so you've also experienced struggles in your business. And I think if anybody who says no business person has ever struggled, there'd probably be a little white lie there associated with it. But struggling is a learning opportunity as well. Would you agree?
Oh, yes. It's okay to struggle as long as you don't say, I just don't know if I can do this anymore, and then not do it anymore. Because I nearly quit 3 times in my career. So, but I was so in line with what I provided that it kept me going, and I had to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I think that's true for most people that say that. So,
were there individuals that you leaned into that helped you, or did you? Because now you're an elder in this industry, considered an elder. Did you have anybody that you leaned into to help you get through the tough times?
I didn't really have anyone in the industry. I sought more help outside the industry, and that's how I looked at things differently from other professionals. It wasn't even in health and wellness. It was, insurance people or real estate or coaching or whatever it was. It was people outside our industry. I think there were plenty of resources, but they weren't guided in the way that I needed them. And so what I feel is that there's lots of content out there, but until you find the right one, the right source of what can help you grow, you just keep going till you find the right thing. And mine was through networking with other professionals.
Yeah, we hear that all the time, Mark, or don't we, with other people? They just don't stay in their sphere of their expertise. They go out and learn from everybody they can that's have success. That's the key. They've demonstrated success, and that you can lean into them and learn from them. And you see a void that there's not a lot of elders flexing their presence out there, that, hey, we're here to help and support you.
Right.
Is that what you're seeing as a need out there?
Yeah, I feel there definitely is a need. I think we had some people really getting into more of mentoring publicly rather than just, having to go find someone in a big stack of needles that you can't find that one person. And then COVID came and a lot of the mentorship programs they went in the background. I don't know if they're coming out again, but I continued on through with the people I had that I was mentoring. It was tough because I didn't know what to tell them, honestly, but you just stuck with the principles of business and you did what you could.
Wonderful. I'm going to circle back to you because now when you hear Kathy's stories and how you come together, we'll talk about what your plan, what your vision is, and what you're collaborating together with. How you finding a need, collaborating with like-minded, and now you have something. We'll circle back to that. But Kath, why don't you just go to your why and your story, a little bit about your background with regards to you being in this industry
Yeah.
as well. What do you see?
Mm-hmm. I've been in the industry of massage therapy and body work for 31 years.
Wow.
And I started out, it took me 7 years to gain the confidence. And to be honest, I don't really think I had the confidence. I just made a decision, it's now or never. And I made a non-negotiable agreement with myself that I'm going to do this business and I'm going to figure it out. And I share that story because one of my favorite things I have shared with students, if I can do it, you can do it. And then share with them who I was when I started out. I was scared of my own shadow, basically. I had no business experience. I was lost. But I knew one thing. I knew I wanted to do this. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I didn't want to work for anybody. But I had no clue how to do it. But I was determined not to quit. So that was the first piece. And then I started teaching. After these 7 years came around, we moved and I got a teaching position in a massage therapy school in Madison, Wisconsin. And I taught ethics and I taught business. And both of them became my love. But one thing I'll share about the business that I learned and witnessed in massage therapy students, I taught 36 hours of business in curriculum class, taught thousands of students probably over the 18 years that I taught. And I remember students, they could hardly get the word business out of their mouth because of their negative relationship to business. And the second word was money. And I thought, wow, this is not going to work for them. But it also offered me the opportunity to look at this need, and it's still there. This was, 15 years ago, 18 years ago, 12 years ago, 10 years ago. But I think Suzanne has already mentioned it. People love to do massage. They want to learn all the techniques. And that's all really good. But it doesn't really bring them the success that they're looking for all the time. Because they're missing really three major components. Is a business aspect that Susan has been talking about and her books are about, right? What is it like to be a businessman or businesswoman as a massage therapist? And to be that mindset that all of us have mentioned already in this interview, mastering the mindset. When I was teaching business, I said, take off your massage therapy hat and now you're businessmen and businesswomen. that's it, and you have to get that mindset like that. And then,
Kath, can I interrupt you here?
of course.
I know Suzanne just messaged me. She's got to get her power cord. We don't want to have a technical loss with her. So go
I
get your
saw
power
that. I didn't
cord,
want to
Kath,
say.
we'll get right back to you. So,
Sorry.
but Kath, did you get your cord, Suzanne?
No, if I can step out for a
I'll put you
minute.
in the back room and let you get your cord hooked up.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that when we go live, sometimes we should coach our people a little bit about their laptop, make sure or their phone, whatever, they got enough power. Oh, it looks like I lost. Looks like we had a little bit of.
Yeah, I think you're froze there. You're back.
Okay, yeah,
you're back.
So, time of day, a lot of people start getting on the internet, bandwidth goes down. But
Sure.
Kath, just what you said there is, we see it in, and we'll just make comments here while waiting for Suzanne to come back in. Is we see what you're talking about across the board in what business is, and not clear of why it's important to have profits. I just lost Kath.
We lost Kathy. Well, keep going. We'll bring them back.
Yeah, so log back in, Kath. She's across the room here from me. So, so anyway, that's interesting, right? So we just lost Kath. We're on the network side. But Mark, we've heard this over and over and over again. People are struggling; they don't have a strong understanding what a business is and how to set one up and how to make it profitable. They're good at what they do, right? They may be an expert in carpentry or car mechanics or whatever, but they don't understand what it takes to have the right mindset to create a business that will be sustainable.
Right.
And
I've met people that are very good, with their hands as far as their carpentry, or they can fix just about anything under the sun, like just being a handyman. I said, if you went in some of these subdivisions in suburbia here in Metro Atlanta, man, you could write your own ticket, because there are people out here that their husbands are traveling or don't know how to do it. And, these housewives, you'd be the godsend, they would call you left and right. You'd have more business. But I've talked to some of these guys and they're like, yeah, man, I just don't want to do that. But they could, sky's the limit, I wish I was that handy sometimes, particularly when we went through all this fun stuff, or even like, say, 11 years ago. I think 11 years ago that forced people, and you guys are back. You got your cord too.
Well, Kath, are you frozen on me here? I think she is.
Yeah, Kathy's still frozen. The frozen chosen. She'll be back. That's kind of cool. She's like, wait, coming back. That's what it was, Tom. You had the order wrong,
Why don't you, Kath, come sit next to me?
Yeah, I am so sorry. I'm having computer problems.
Okay, no problem. Pull up the chair. That's the benefit. We have never done this before
you're perfect. See, look at that. It's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but we're flexible just like our bodies, right?
That's right.
In business, you got to adapt under circumstances that come your way. So,
yeah.
But we'll get back to Kath here and share your story about the two things that came out of their mouths. Business was a terrifying thought for them, and their relationship with money. So we'll just have you continue with that.
Yeah. And so I knew there was a real need. And in the context of business, my real love was ethics. And I teach continuing education. I have a company called Ethical Dimensions, and I've been teaching transformational ethics for about 18 years, actually. And so this is very interesting because I think this will lead into Suzanne and I really integrating perhaps the rest of this interview. I had been thinking for about 4 years before I met Suzanne and expressed it with some colleagues, but there was no interest, no movement. But my idea was, being an elder in this profession, having, years behind me, seeing the need of massage therapists coming into this profession and having very little business sense. What does it take to really build a successful practice? And most students that I have met really want to be in private practice. And so I'm like, okay, I've got to find somebody that is like-minded with me. And number one, sees the need, has some experience, longevity in this profession, and sees our profession like I do, and the need that's there, the missing link. Someone that has not focused on technique. And that's, I'm not downing that, but that's not where we're at. We're at 4 very different spokes in how to help practitioners build the practice they want to build. And lo and behold, I met Suzanne. Exactly what I was looking for.
Can I make a comment? Because, it's one thing to teach business and what it takes to win in business and make money. And that's a tragedy for people that fail. I mean, that give up. That's a tragedy in itself. But I think the biggest tragedy is the gifts and talents that you have as practitioners and those that are out there, that if they can't stay in business, they can't bring that gift to the marketplace and serve people. I think that's the biggest tragedy that occurs out there, because massage is a very integral part in our should be in our overall health strategy, because there is a place for it. Everything from just a nice relaxing to something more medically inclined or more therapeutic, and everything in between. So emotional work and all that type of thing. So I think that is what I've heard from Kathy all these years, that's who's going to suffer if you can't keep the gifts in the business, the talented people that have that gift. So I just want to expound on that.
Can I just bridge that for a moment? And Suzanne, you can chime in. But I think what I really get sad about is seeing these students in the beginning in school, and they're excited. They have a vision, right? They're passionate. And then they give up on themselves. They give up on themselves, not so much in school. Within 2 to 3 years is usually the initial big dropout rate in our profession. And that has always saddened me. And I know that if they would have hung in there long enough and had maybe some strong mentors that knows what it takes to really make it in this business, they'd still be in it. They'd still be in it. And watching people give up on themselves and their dreams is something I don't want to hang out with. I want to help them see who they really are. And that if I can do it, they can do it, and not to quit. And that's really what Suzanne and I are doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make a comment here, something that Robert Brooker had put up here. And just a comment he made is that I want to create a little something and then something that will scale. And I think that's part of what you're doing is that if you just have linear income, how can you grow and expand your offerings? And if you can expand your offerings, I call it running parallel. you can expand your income as well. Scalable.
Yeah.
So just want to know. Thanks, Robert, for your comment.
Mhm.
And says not quitting. Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ruben
No quitting.
Lowing, he's the guy that came up with that comment. Thank you for putting that out there, Ruben. No quitting. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for being here. Tag and share this out. So we've covered some, and I would also like to, do this as well. Is Kath, you've written a book. You mentioned ethics.
Mhm.
Now, I always thought ethics was the do's and don'ts, right? The rules and regulations and laws and protocols that you're supposed to do ethically. But could you share a little bit about your book and what this will do to the industry out there as well?
Yes. And before I answer your question, Tom, what I'm about to talk about is one of the spokes. In a moment, Suzanne and Suzanne will begin talking about our business, new business dimensions. And, we have a background, we met, and now what are we creating together? Your expertise, my expertise, our expertise, and then going from there. So a bit of an explanation around ethics. I knew many, many years ago when I first started that it was really who I was being that was going to bring me the most success in this profession. I just knew it. We all know that feeling, that inner knowing that we all have. And our job is to just listen to it and trust it. And that led me into my teaching of ethics, and it's transformational ethics. It's really a study of self. Who am I being as I show up in relationship with another human being, whether they're on my table, sitting next to me in a classroom, they're my student, they're my colleague, right? Who am I being? So my approach to ethics is transformational. It's a study of self. It's a study of self. And the book is based on 7 qualities. And one of them is gratitude. One of them is integrity. And one of the 4 spokes that Susan and I in our program of New Business Dimensions is offering our profession. Mm-hmm.
Just want to acknowledge Ruben. Thank you for serving, Ruben, for serving a Navy SEAL.
Mm-hmm.
They teach you not how to quit. That's for sure. They teach work. A lot of things they teach in the military and athletics and stuff are definitely elements of success in business. So thanks, Ruben, for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just got to acknowledge a good friend of ours here, Ernest. Thanks for jumping on. He says, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for jumping on, Ernest. Tag and share out there. So you gals have a passion. You've seen the pain that's going on in this industry, the experience, and you've come together. You met like-minded. I think that's so critical when you go into business. You got to be aligned with people that have the same vision, purpose, and why in life. And you come together. Now share a little bit about what you're doing with newbusinessdimensions.org. That's the website now that's being. And what are you going to be offering?
That's a collaborative effort by you 2 ladies, correct? Is that correct?
Yes. That's our joint force. We so as Kathy mentioned, there are 4 spokes to what we're providing. Ultimately, as we've been talking about, the business part of who we are is in there somewhere. And we can't tie the 2 together. We're an artist on one side, but business is more cognitive effort. And so to make things easier, I've created an education that helps them, understand that it's okay that they don't get it like this. And the course I provide is called the Client Acceleration Workshop. And so it's more than just getting clients, it's about who they are and what they provide. And this is where they establish value and understand that it's more than just the task. There's a lot of components to it, and it's harder for some than others, yes. But that's why we are combining forces to have our expertise, our, a platform in which we can help support them. And together, ethics has been a very big part of my belief as well since I was in massage school. And I call it the standards of practice, is having a set expectation of your clients, which is one of the ethical rules, I believe. And you give your expectations and you set forth expectations. And I think that applies in all businesses as well, in that you understand in our profession, the boundaries can be a little bit tested. So it's important to show support for them in that effort. And my education is just the launch of the business side of things, but I continue to mentor them throughout their career if they want to. That wasn't available to me before. And I bring in other people from other professions to help me. So it's okay that I'm not just responsible for them. There's a team that is, and Kathy is my number one team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
Hey, Kathy, if you would have had the books that Suzanne wrote, those two business books, like when you started out, I was really listening to what you were saying. You said, there they are. You said, I didn't know if I was going to make it. If you would have had, probably both you ladies, if you would have had like what you've given as an outline, really in your industry, do you think then you would have doubted yourself as much? Or I'm just curious and asking that question. I mean, what do you, if you had two books like that, at least a reference, even if you were by yourself, would it have helped you, or would it have intimidated you more to say, wow, I can't do what this person wrote a book about this. I can't do this. I mean,
well, in my case, I did follow someone who led our industry in marketing. It was in our school. It's been throughout other schools. The thing that it was about was marketing. It wasn't about me.
okay.
It wasn't about what I do. It wasn't about setting up things in the business fashion. It was more about sending out newsletters and
Oh, neat.
CRMs and
Right.
all those things that were like, I don't know what you're talking about. So there was no like baby step to that point of marketing. To me, that was a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And so, and I felt like it was, I just didn't have that person that helped me understand it's a process and that it's okay to build it slow, but I could have built it a lot faster because I was determined to make it work like Kathy was, because that's what I wanted to do. And if I had more resources like that, I think it would have been very helpful.
Ruben just put something. Go ahead. Could you read that, Mark?
Yeah, I sure will. Thank you for sharing, Ruben, because we welcome it. I had to merge being present and really caring about the person in front of me and serving them, even if it's not going to benefit me financially. That's a mouthful, and that's really some strong stuff there. I love it. Coaching them to create and budget, eliminate unnecessary expenses, paying down debt in order to free up enough money for them to start investing. Yes, it's and how many times we hear that word, invest in you. The quick fix, the instant gratification. I don't think there really ever is. I mean, I'd like to hit a ball like some of these major leaguers, but it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's a process, and I admire Ruben for being a SEAL, but uh, you just don't jump in there and do it. You got to go through that whole process. I mean, David Goggins, if you ever read his book, he went through that thing like twice. I mean, there's some crazy people out there that are SEALs, but thank God, and I say that respectfully, that they're willing to do that. I mean, my brother was an Army Ranger, so that's not an easy task too, where they starve you and torment you, but there's a purpose for it, and I think what you guys are talking about, you're really onto something that, you're providing these tools. And Kathy mentioned that they start out, they're excited, and then it comes that point and they just, boom, they just like give up on themselves. And I won't even go into when you're on the phone and trying to connect with people and getting in touch with people or strategizing, and things don't always go your way. But the easiest thing to do is quit. And I think my dad summed it up best. I've never been to a quitters rally. I've never seen someone get up and say, "Yeah, man, let me tell you how you fail at this business." I don't think they have those. I know you can find people like that. Yeah, look at this. He says, "Thank you, Ruben. I know David. I went through hell." Week twice. Oh my goodness, he went through it twice. Oh my God, buds. Oh my good. You got to want to really be a SEAL to do that. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just amazing.
I just want to comment what Ernest is saying. Requires you to live through Hell Week. Well, being in business, you have a SEAL mentality, but I wanted to acknowledge Ernest right here, saying something as you're building this forum to help practitioners succeed long term. That's the key. The long-term strategy.
Yes.
And, in my coaching business, when I was training coaches, people become coaches, we may be good at the content and our modality and all that. We're the best at it, right? The response comes back. But if you don't master marketing and don't understand, even a massage therapist, if you don't master the art of the sale, that's the asking for the next appointment or
Right.
asking them to come to visit you, whatever the case. That is a selling process. And that's a word that probably massage therapists go, "Oh my God, I can't handle sales. I don't ever want to sell."
There's that word,
Right?
sales, sell. I mean, what Tom's talking about, it's so true. How would you like to have your domain name Sales Concepts? So when you send an email, it's getting filtered to the nth degree. They're like poised vipers out there. Oh, we got this guy, But I mean, it's wild in your profession. I'm sure people are like putting their hands up like that and saying, "Oh man, I didn't get in this thing to sell or to sell or market or promote or is that true for some? Not all. Is that what you see happening?
Well, I often say your sales moment is when you lay your hands on them.
There you go. Yeah.
Because that is where you shine. I mean, if you're good at what you do, and most therapists are, that is their time, and getting them in the door is the other piece. But I think that's what scares them more, the therapist, more than anything, is getting them in the door. But there are lots of strategies in which to do that. You go to events, you hand out cards, there's lots of things you can do with it. And it's a matter of getting them in front of you and educating them is a big part. That's a big part of what I mentor on, is give them the research. Show them,
wow.
Show them what the research says helps getting massages, regularly now and then, whatever it is, depends on the condition, but it's a big point of sale that they're missing, is educating the client or potential client on what it can do for them. So,
I think what you just said there is so important. It's in any business, is why they need to understand the process of what you do. It's not just it felt good, but what are the immediate long-term benefits of having that in part of their protocol for health? I think massage and what you're talking about, it should be part of a protocol at some area of your lifestyle, in my opinion. But I do have a question now for both of you. Is now you're putting this business together called New Business Dimensions. Who are you targeting? Who do you want to, anybody that's listening to this, you may know somebody. Who is it exactly? Who do you want to reach out with your platform to help them have a more successful career path? Would that be, go ahead.
Yeah. Can I answer that, Suzanne?
Yes, please.
No, but I think it's important to share something before we answer that, both Suzanne and I, is the platform, and I'm going to go back to the 4 spokes. So people that are listening really understand, because we've been talking a lot about business, right? And the systems of business and marketing and sales. And that's all so much a part of one of the spokes we offer. Mm-hmm. And it's a needed spoke because it's so missing in our profession, right? The other spoke is, of course, the ethics, the transformational ethics, the study of self. Okay. Because as Suzanne said, our touch, our way of being is part of what we're selling. And that's usually the most influential, but that's a whole nother story. And then the third spoke is what we call self-leadership, is really the work on mindset, study with Bob Proctor and a few other people, and mindset is key. So really helping our audience understand, mentor them, teach them around mindset, mastering mindset, key, and then understanding their own paradigms and limitations and beliefs and what holds them back, but always keeping their vision in front of them and don't letting them quit on themselves. That's really what Suzanne and I are doing too. We're not going to let them quit. If they show that they really want it, right, as we can work with them, we're not going to let them quit. And then the 4th spoke that we're integrating into this New Business Dimensions is MSIs, which is multiple streams of income. And I knew a long time ago that my income was going to be limited if I only made money off the table. And what happens in our profession, practitioners get tired because their income is limited to table. And so Suzanne and I are expanding that into adjunct therapies, MSIs, that if I sprain my wrist, if I get sick, if I just get tired and want to cut back my hours, I need another source of income. So our platform covers all of that. The business side, which is Suzanne's expertise. Those are her 2 books. The transformational ethics piece, the self-leadership, mastering mindset, a winner's mindset, a success mindset, whatever that is for them, they define it. And then, of course, the multiple sources of income. So we'll be teaching courses, we'll be mentoring, we'll have a coaching program. We're going to copy the 2 of you and have live stream like this, and really creating a community, because our profession is kind of a lonely profession too, because we work alone.
Yeah.
We work alone. And so creating a community of learning and growing and challenging and never quit and go after what you want in life. I think the greatest gift one can give themselves is doing what you love while earning money at it.
That's right.
It creates the freedom of time and money, and love what you do. Serve others with the gifts you've been given. So that's our platform that we're creating together. And so I forgot what your question was, Tom.
Is that strictly massage therapist per se, or other practitioners that work in parallels?
I think practitioners is our wheelhouse, But, I'm seeing that I have a sleeping coach. He's a coach. He still
Oh,
needs
wow.
clients, So he's interested in he's signing up for my acceleration class. And so it can go across even for him in all of those 4 spokes, because ultimately he's dealing with people one-to-one, and it's the same concept. And just, I think what I love about Kathy is that she's this deeper dive kind of lady, and she gets to the heart of things so efficiently and so naturally. And I think that's what really draws me to her. But also, that's something that I've noticed is what's needed. And it's getting to the heart of who you are and what you do and keep the passion going. And so all these pieces can help across different industries.
I just want to acknowledge what Ruben said in a nutshell is that, we have a lot of forces, economic forces going around us right now. And if we're in business for ourselves, we can offset those problems by taking control, figuring it out, what value you can bring to the marketplace, being business for yourself. It's basically saying is that you really control. And this is the message for everybody. Having a business of any sort, even though you might be an employee for somebody, you love what you're doing, but if you don't have a business, that job could disappear. And what are you going to do then? Same thing here. Being in business, you have a lot more options than just punching somebody else's time clock. And that's what you ladies are looking to do is how do you build that business that you love, that gives you flexibility? If things like COVID came in, thank God Kath had the multiple streams of paths of income. She didn't have to fold up shop.
Yeah.
And too many of the practitioners that she knows left the industry because they were locked out for 2 years.
Never have come back.
And haven't come back.
Right. And, I think it's our other audience is those who work other places that are unhappy and they want to move forward with their own dream of doing what they love. And they don't know how to get started because they're working too much. So there is a strategy, and I have some partners that help with that. But also, even if they're working for someone else, the practice is who they are. So
Right.
what they're doing is providing who they are every day, and giving them confidence to step out is really, I believe, what Kathy and I want to help with as well.
Yeah.
I want to acknowledge Ruben again. You gals are putting this whole platform. Are you going to have any focus on personal finance and how to manage business finances, personal finances, so you don't get behind the 8 ball, that you got too much debt and you're not saving money, don't have an emergency plan or capital reserves that affect it? Are you going to have anything like that in the business on how to win financially?
Suzanne, can I answer that?
Yes, please.
Yes, we have a brilliant idea on that. Right? And it really
I knew Kathy's wisdom would surface here.
covers 2 things. Don't spend what you don't have and pay yourself first. I'm kidding, but not really. That's a good question, Tom. I think part of our goal is to bring in an expert on that piece. Basic money principles.
Yeah,
Right?
I have several that I work with already, and they're lined up. I'm lining them up, ready to go, because
I just wanted to jump in here real quick. I'm sorry, but the
No.
comments are just chucking down the track here, man. Ruben says he's got something here at agents.worldfinancialgroup.com, Ruben. So I did look at your profile, Ruben, and I'm going to publicly say this. You need to come on Elevate Your Profits sometime, because I already sent them a request. We'd love to have you, man, particularly your background as being a SEAL and what you went through and what you're doing now and what you're going to be doing in the future. So we would welcome to have you on here. It'd be tremendous. I'm sorry, I
No
digressed.
problem. You know, Mark, you
Oh,
just said something.
great.
This is a community, and
Yeah.
then what these two beautiful women are sharing is so important for no matter what business. And this is how you help people grow and expand.
Mhm.
So, yeah, Ruben. Anybody that like that has something to contribute to the entrepreneurial, we'd like to have that conversation. So,
Mhm.
share this out and say he understands his path. And I think this is something to learn from here. When you're clear on your purpose, why, and your vision in life, business becomes easeful, not easy, easeful.
Peaceful.
Right.
I'll go ahead and read this, Marker.
Okay, he said, Ruben says, I joined the Navy to make a difference in the world. And there's something with and when I went into the SEAL teams, but there's nothing I have ever done that makes a difference in people's lives than helping people get on the right financial footing. And that's kind of what Kathy touched on. Uh, I, you mentioned about money. It's something that people like put in a closet sometimes. They don't want to talk about it. I'm not being weird about it. It's really weird when you talk. They don't want to talk about. Should I do something else? People do other things, and I mean, I remember I used to ask my dad, "Why do you umpire basketball, football, baseball? Why are you still in the Army Reserve? And why are you still working at the Bethlehem Steel?" And his answer was one, two, and three, and you're part of that equation. And he kiddingly said, when you open up the refrigerator, my dad had a very succinct way of putting things. Um, you don't ask me how comes we don't have any milk? You just say, where's the milk? And as I got older, I figured out what he was trying to tell me. His famous statement was, don't tell me what you can't do. I'm tired of hearing about it. Just show me what you can do.
Yeah.
And look in the mirror if there's a situation, because 9 times out of 10, you created it. And I think that's hard for all of us, even as adults. And, now I have an older son that's married and that he's gone through some things, not bad, but it's growth. And it's just wild when you really start confronting people in a nice way. But money is always like something you don't want to talk about. It's kind of like politics or religion. But I say, what the heck? I always like to learn from people. My brother-in-law's famous statement, and I'll be quiet, was a lot of people look at ways to save money. I look at ways to make money. And that was and he's very successful when he passed. I mean, a millionaire over a few times, I would say. He did rather well for himself.
Well, I tell you what, an hour goes by in a hurry.
Yeah.
We have gone into the next phase of the next hour, and we could stay here, probably talk and dialogue back and forth. I just wanted to acknowledge
Right.
everybody coming on, share this out, especially if you know any people that are in the holistic healthcare space, massage therapists. These two women are going to make a difference for individuals in that industry in a very significant way. They're needed. This is not just something to feel good, rubby-dubby. I'm just using my own terminology, but there is so much therapeutic benefit for having gifted people like Kathy and Suzanne and their colleagues out there. That's what the mission is that we don't lose the talent.
Right.
That we don't lose the talent.
I think that's cool. You guys wrote the books that you have, Kathy and Suzanne. Man, if I was going to go in your profession, I'd take a look at your books because you've mapped out a strategy. I mean, that's neat.
Yeah.
In closing, Suzanne, what is the one thing you would say to anybody in the audience or any massage therapist out there that an inspiring word that you can give them?
Well, I think the aligning with your gifts and talents is for now. I mean, we've done the other work where we've worked for others. We've maybe had, different types of jobs our whole lives, or even if I came from the corporate world into massage therapy and I didn't use my gifts and talents there, I'm using them now. And the opportunities are everywhere for them. So I would say for you, if you're looking to connect with us, that this is an opportunity for you to learn more about how to share your gifts and talents more freely and in an easeful way, as you mentioned earlier.
Well, thank you. I'm just going to bring up your website here as well, that they can contact you, learn more about what you're going to be. That's a site that's in development. There'll be courses and programs and all that stuff coming on board with that in a very short period. So you can reach out there. And in closing, Kath, what would be the word of wisdom that you would want to share?
Don't quit on yourself. Don't quit on yourself. You're put on this earth for a reason. You were drawn to this profession, massage therapy, body work, holistic care. And if you quit on yourself, what are your options? And if you quit on yourself, can you truly look in the mirror and say to yourself, I did it? Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. And so I invite you to contact Suzanne, myself, see what we're all about, how we can journey together and offer our gifts to the world together. That's what we're doing here. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it takes grit, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'll just finish with this. This is something I told my students always. Whether you work for someone else or you're going to be in business for yourself, you're always in business for yourself. And you must have that mindset. You're always in business for yourself. Right. Take that leadership, step into it, and never, ever quit on your dreams. Never, never.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was a perfect ending there. Never give up on yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ruben, for all your
man, Ruben, did you see that? I will cross-mark it to the message there, Kristen. That's neat.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ruben. With that, Kath, we're going to mark. I'm going to put you in the back room. Well, that means I'll have to ask you to leave the room while Mark and I.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh my!
You're invited back. We're in the back room.
Kathy has to go to her room now.
Yeah, we have a little technical difficulty here. Her computer lost bandwidth or something. I don't know what happened, but Suzanne, thank you for being here. It was an honor and a pleasure to have you on. You two ladies I know are going to make a big difference.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. We're going to close out.
Okay. Bye.
Outstanding.
Wow. That was, I really enjoyed the.
Ruben wants me to call him. So yes, I will, sir.
Did you write his number down?
Oh, it's right. Yeah, I got it.
Great. That's the whole thing. You would never know who we're touching, who we're going to inspire. But, there's an industry that needs a lot of help. And I think that's what business is about. Who can we serve for the right reason? It's not always about the money, but you can't serve long-term if you can't make money, manage your money, like Ruben would say, like I would say as a financial coach as well, because it's having money is as essence as breathing air. We can't survive without it, one way or the other, right?
Absolutely.
So with that all said, Mark, you want to say anything about our corporate sponsor? Well, before we get
Well,
out,
yeah. Well, you know who it is. It's ASEA. And thank you once again for the products because it enabled me to get through 4 more games of baseball. So I had started my day at approximately 11 a.m. and finished about 7 o'clock at night. So they
that's
are some very good, solid products that they do what they do, and they've helped me tremendously.
yeah. So, Mark, final comment to the two beautiful ladies we interviewed
Uh,
today. Anything
I
else?
thought what they talked about, I needed to hear. It was spot on, and your wife, Miss Kathy, as I call her, has wisdom to the nth degree. And I think that's really neat that her and Suzanne are collaborating now and creating this other platform. And the reason I asked that question in closing, if they both would have had these, I don't want to call it a manual, but a book or an outline, it would have been a lot easier. But it can be exasperating. There are people out there that do need help, and sometimes all they got to do is open up the door. The knock's there, but they want to either try and go through a wall, or they refuse to open up the door. And there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
But I think what they're doing out there, that's a tough industry,
Yeah.
and I totally respect what they do.
Yeah. Well, Mark, another great interview with two inspiring ladies. And do we have any announcements?
Yes, yes. If I'm not mistaken, let me see. I got to remember this. It is the 10th is coming up, right? And if you recollect, we have a gentleman that's going to be joining us.
I'm looking at
You
the upcoming calendar.
You looking at it? Remember, I
I'm
sent you
getting there.
something?
I got to go through the months. I got
I
to get
know.
the right
I hear
month.
you.
September, October. Can you believe it's October?
I know. And next week is the 10th.
Next week, the 10th, we have no guest. We'll have a topic.
We do. We should, if I'm not mistaken.
Is that Sean?
Yeah, Sean.
I thought he's the 17th.
Well, you know what? It might be the 17th, but if I jump ahead, I'll promote you anyway, Sean. If it's the 10th or the 17th, but I'm pretty sure it is the 17th. That will be you need to go check this out because Sean, I have a lot of respect for him because he has some health issues, and I just want to part with this. Then, on top of that, and I'm not going to get into all that because he will tell his story. He did like 98 days of fun, what I call a summer, and did a lot of walking and shared a lot of things live. And now he's out there, continually doing his Litvac leadership. That's who I'm talking about is Sean Litvac. So, Sean, I'm really looking forward to you coming on here and sharing with Tom and I your journey because you've gone through a few things and challenges, and I can't wait to hear your story.
And he's just authored a book. It will be launched here in the next 6 weeks or so. And I
Absolutely
had a great opportunity. He asked me to write something for the forward in the book, so I'm honored to do that for him. And brings a great wisdom to business.
Right.
From the spiritual sense of things, he works out of Proverbs.
Yeah, and what's really neat about his book, which he shared with me as well, which all these books that are written, Tom. I one day I was sitting down here, and there are great books that have been written, but where do they all derive from? Where's the originator? It's a thing called the Holy Scriptures, and you name any book that's out there, and you can find it if you really want to delve deep into the Scriptures. It's there. Just what we were talking about tonight. It's all there. And that's what I think's neat about Sean's book coming up here. He's taken the book of Proverbs and he's dumbed it down for people like me. I kiddingly say that, but no, it's and how to apply it in your everyday life. So that's what's kind of cool about his book.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that interview as well. I read the book that he'd sent out for me for review, and I tell you what, he's hitting a home run. Everybody should have
what
that
is it,
book.
about 78 pages or something? I think is what.
Well, that was just the first 3 chapters.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So, but anyway, Mark, another great interview, and we'll just wrap it up, and we are out of here. See you next
Thanks.
week.
You got it. Thanks, everybody.